Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video we're going to be discussing several important levels of support that Bitcoin is currently holding above. As you guys probably know, Bitcoin is sitting around $7,200, which is exactly where we found support just a little under a month ago. Guys, there is a lot of reasons why Bitcoin has bottomed out here that have come to my attention in the last 24 hours, and they are ones that I want to bring to your attention because I'm starting to believe that $7,200 might actually be the bottom for Bitcoin. There's a lot of reasons why I say that. I'm going to unpack all of them in today's video, but to sum it all up, I'm getting relatively greedy on Bitcoin and I want to start longing. I'm looking for entry positions and I'm going to show you guys why. So if you guys do enjoy today's video, consider hitting that like button down below, but only if you actually do like the video. If you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button. We do daily cryptocurrency content. I wouldn't want you to miss any of it. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. One take, gosh, it's almost like this is my job or something. Anyway, guys, we need to go ahead and look at Bitcoin here. As you know, over the last several days, Bitcoin has been plummeting, jumping off a cliff, blood falling, whatever you want to call it. Bitcoin has been moving pretty quickly to the downside. We were trading around $8,400 just a few days ago on the 18th of November before we broke bearish, and then we broke bearish again, and then again, and right now we're sitting up here trading around that important level of $7,200. But why $7,200? Why did Bitcoin not go all the way down to $6,000 after breaking that crucial support at 8K? Why is Bitcoin holding here? It's a seemingly arbitrary level. Well, it's actually pretty simple, guys. The reason is because it's not an arbitrary level. Actually, Bitcoin is holding at $7,200 for a very good reason. As you guys will well know, a very important level of support at 8K was here on the VPVR, and we did break that, and because of that, Bitcoin fell about $1,000 in a day. Now, that wasn't exactly good for Bitcoin, but it actually did allow Bitcoin to kind of capitulate. People use that term a lot. They say Bitcoin needs to capitulate. Bitcoin needs to fall. It needs to exhaust the bears. That's something we talk about in CT2A and in the first cohort, is the concept of exhaustion on one of the two major factions in Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin has broken $8,000, it's moved down to 7.2, they are starting to get exhausted. But what's so important about 7.2? If you start looking into it, there's actually quite a lot important about $7,200. The first thing that is obvious is that Bitcoin has recently garnered support at $7,200. As you can see over here, guys, Bitcoin fell down to $7,200 back on October 23rd, and Bitcoin has fallen back down there exactly a month later. So it's a double bottom, guys. It's a level of support that's already been established. Bitcoin has fallen back there. Furthermore, as you can see, it was the bottom of this market over here as well. And in fact, if we bring our VPVR back up, we're going to find that there is still support on the VPVR around 7.2. That number didn't just completely come out of left field. It did have a little bit of backing beyond what I'm about to show you. But what I'm about to show you is actually the reason, in my opinion, that Bitcoin fell all the way down here. Check this out. I don't talk about Fibonacci retracement much on the channel, but we're about to. Guys, you know from the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy that Fibonacci retracement is very important. As you guys will probably remember, when Bitcoin rallied all the way to $14,000, we started using Fibonacci here on the channel quite a lot. We predicted this high right here with the 38.2% Fibonacci level about 3-4 weeks ago. We predicted these tops right here that Bitcoin was rejecting at the 0.5 level back at $8,500. And furthermore, guys, that $7,200 level, guess what? It's a Fibonacci level. It's not just any Fibonacci level either. It's the 61.8% Fibonacci level. I've only been saying for the last 2 years that 61.8 is literally one of the most important numbers in all of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency technical analysis. And that is not an exaggeration, guys. It's probably up there in the top 5 numbers that you need to remember. 61.8, very important. Whenever Bitcoin has a retracement, whenever Bitcoin has a rejection, whenever Bitcoin is in a state where you can use Fibonacci retracement on it, 61.8 is a number you need to remember. A good example of why is if we check out our longer term trends here, we'll see that Bitcoin actually topped out at the 61.8% Fibonacci level back in late June. If we look back on the chart here in earlier 2018, we'll find that Bitcoin topped out at the inverse of 61.8, 38.2. Flipped over the 0.5, that is the same number. Then guess what? During these downtrends, guys, Bitcoin would top out at the 61.8. You can go through all 4 or 5 of these, and every single time Bitcoin would top out the 61.8. It's a very important number. And it just so happens, guys, that 61.8 is exactly where Bitcoin is sitting right now, the $7,200 level. But that's not the only reason why $7,200 is such a strong level. In fact, I'm starting to think that $7,200 is about as important as 6K, but it might not be about to get broken. Here's another reason. Look out here on the monthly chart, guys. We got the 20 monthly exponential moving average. I've talked about this in a lot of videos. I remember over a year ago, I made a video on how to predict the beginning of a bull market. I showed you about 10 different technical indicators and signs that you can use to determine when Bitcoin is moving into or out of a bull market. One of those signs that I showed you was Bitcoin getting above the 20 monthly EMA, okay? We saw that happen back here in October of 2015. Bitcoin got above that EMA and it stayed above it for the duration of the bull market, and only when we capitulated and went into our final accumulation phase of 2018 did we fall below it. Guess what Bitcoin's getting support on? I'll be honest with you guys, it's hard to tell right now whether or not Bitcoin's going to hold it. If Bitcoin falls below here though, I will say this, it's probably not going to fall very far. I don't personally see Bitcoin falling any farther than $6,000, and if we do fall down there, we're probably going to have a big bounce, so pretty quickly we would more than likely be back up above the 20 EMA. I like where it's positioned, and I like that we're getting support on it, and also, by the way, in case there's still technical analysis naysayers out there who say it doesn't work, look at where it's sitting. $7,200. So what's the takeaway from all of this, guys? Are we just going to sit here and say, okay, Bitcoin's got support 7.2? Great. Of course not. There's always a trade to be made based off of technical analysis. Sometimes you make them, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you sit back and you watch, sometimes you look for profit. In this case, guys, the reason I'm bringing this to your attention is because I think there is a trade here, and I think it's time for us to start getting greedy. I think Bitcoin has found its bottom, and if it hasn't, I think it will relatively soon. I think somewhere between 6,000 and 7.2 is going to be our bottom, and I think within the next month will be a good time to be buying. Now, that's my hot take on it. I might be wrong. There are people who say otherwise. There are people that say we're going all the way down to 5.2. Nevertheless, guys, even if Bitcoin does go down to its worst case scenario, $5,000, I don't see Bitcoin going any lower than that. That's a 30% retracement to the absolute worst case scenario, while the predictions of the halving put Bitcoin at 100 grand. If we check out how far that would rally and what the returns on that would look like, we're looking at 1,200%. At a tiny bit of leverage, we're talking maybe 2, 3, 4% if you're crazy. For a long-term swing trade like that, you're looking at maybe 5,000% returns, over a 30% loss. Talk about a risk to reward ratio, guys. There's a reason why I'm getting greedy right now. It's because the returns that we're about to see in Bitcoin are ridiculous and the risk is very low. There's a reason I wasn't buying up at 14,000. We were actually live streaming when Bitcoin hit the yearly high here, and people were asking me, Jeb, should I buy in? Jeb, should I buy in? Jeb, should I buy in? No. You should not buy in, because when a trend's been going on for a long time, instead of going with the trend, it gets to the point where you want to start counter trading the trend. Right now, guys, Bitcoin has been bearish for 150 days. That's nearly 6 months. We've retraced 50% from the yearly high. Bitcoin is looking at very strong support on the monthly chart, the daily chart. We're looking at very strong support coming from the RSI getting oversold on the daily chart, for example. I think Bitcoin is getting close to the end of its capitulation. I think Bitcoin is getting close to a bottom and the beginning of a new uptrend moving on into the next decade, 2020. Now, whether or not that uptrend starts today, this week, this month, I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is that sometime before the end of the year, I think Bitcoin is going to have found its bottom and be starting to trend to the upside, and potentially by then even have set a new high. By a new high, I'm talking about above $10,000, not above 14, to be clear. This guy up here is probably not going anywhere for a little bit. Guys, I remember when I got into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin was trading at $2,900. There are a lot of you guys who got into Bitcoin when it was in the 3 digits. I'm talking about like $200, $300, $400, $500. There are a lot of you guys who got in then, and now people are complaining about a $7,000 Bitcoin. Are you serious? Guys, this is one of the best buying opportunities I've ever seen. The future for Bitcoin looks nothing but bright. I mean, we have articles like this coming out every day. Bitcoin 10,000 coming with 100K on the horizon, says Cardano and Ethereum creator Charles Hoskinson. You probably have heard that name before. He knows what he's talking about. Everybody is saying bullish things about Bitcoin, and that's not because they have a special interest. They do have a bias, don't get me wrong. But just because someone is biased to say something does not mean that they are incorrect. Now is not a time to be looking to short the market. That's a short-term play. Are you guys in the market for the next 3 days or the next 3 years? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Are you looking to make 5% on a short, or are you looking to make a much longer term trade, a swing trade, or an investment that could bring you much higher returns with much less work? I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm not telling you how to trade. I'm not telling you how to spend your money, but I am telling you this. The technicals are saying that Bitcoin is getting close to the end of its downtrend here. The technicals are saying that Bitcoin might go down to 6K. It might not. The point is, it's pretty close to wherever that bottom is, because I bet anything that Bitcoin will not go below that 200 weekly exponential moving average right here. Excuse me, simple moving average, around $5,000. Bitcoin is not going to break that, in my opinion. So in the long term, what does it really matter if you buy at 5K or 7K? Who cares? If you're going to be investing in Bitcoin, now's probably a good time to start. If you're interested, we can sit here every day and try to make short-term trades on short-term analysis for short-term gains, for short-term profit, and not look at the long term. But I think it's a very big disservice to us and those around us who would benefit from us making the kind of money that we're talking about here in this space. If we want to be successful, we need to understand that there are long-term forces at work, not just short-term. There is a reason to be bullish on Bitcoin in the long term. There is no reason to be concerned about Bitcoin in the long term, in my opinion. And the future for Bitcoin has never looked looked as bright as it does right now. So guys, that is my rant. That is my spiel over. One thing I want to mention here at the outro of the video is that I love having the webcam, but I did want to go ahead and update you guys on what's going on. Right now, we're recording on a Canon Rebel EOS T7. If you guys know anything about photography, we're currently set to about 35 millimeters with a f4.5. I'm going to be buying an a6400 with a 30 millimeter f1.4 lens, and I'm also going to be decorating the crap out of this room because there's an echo in this room, and that's because this room is completely empty now. If you guys have any ideas for what you would like to see in the background, eventually this camera is going to move from right there to right over there, and you're going to see that corner. I've got some posters that I want to buy. I'm really looking forward to those. I mean, as you can see, we have a lot of work to do in here. But nevertheless, guys, over the next month or so, we're going to get this studio built out. We're going to have a much nicer camera. So it's going to be 60 FPS instead of like 20. This camera is not set up correctly, and unfortunately, there's no way for me to set it up correctly because Canon doesn't work very well for this. Long live Sony. But nevertheless, guys, I'm probably about to drop like $4,000 or $5,000 on this studio and equipment. The camera alone is going to cost over $1,500. I want to buy a Shure SM7B. That setup's going to cost, that's a microphone. That setup's going to cost like $1,000. People don't realize that YouTube is expensive. The setup in front of me is probably worth over $5,000 just to make these videos every single day. And a lot of people wonder, Jeb, why do you sell CT2A? Why do you sell First Cohort? Why don't you just give it away for free? That's why. It's because it's not cheap to do these kind of things. It's not cheap to buy a new camera. It's not cheap to build a computer. It's not cheap to buy a new microphone. It's not cheap for this lighting that you guys might not have even noticed is here. You notice how this part of my face is lit differently than this one? That's because I set up the lighting to do that. It's not cheap to do these kind of things, guys, and that's why we created the First Cohort. That's why we created the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. If you guys would like to support the channel, I would be very appreciative. We have a lot of people over here in the First Cohort already, and I'm looking to have fun with you guys today. I don't have a lot going on today, so I'm probably going to be in the Discord server talking to you guys about technical analysis and Bitcoin a lot in today's video. So if you guys are interested in joining that conversation, the First Cohort is here for that. The reason that this is here, guys, the main reason why I built the First Cohort is for two reasons. One, there's a lot of upgrades I want to do to the setup and to the actual channel here. I want to do a complete graphical redesign. That's going to cost a lot of money. I want to be able to give Taylor, who edits these videos, a big raise. Because, guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but over the last 6 months, the quality of these videos has gotten a lot better. That's not me. That's her. She deserves it, guys, and it's this that's going to allow me to do that. So if you guys want to contribute to the channel and making the content here on YouTube even better, the money in First Cohort is not really going to me. Pretty much all of it's going to be reinvested into the business for a long time. There's a lot of things we need to buy to make this better. There's a lot of things we need to buy to improve the experience that we have here. If you guys want to help build the channel out while getting an amazing value, by the way, there are people that charge $1,000 a month for this kind of thing. I am not joking. I'm dead serious. You can join with the link down below. It's only $25 a month. You're going to get access to these videos down here. There's currently 8 of them. A 9th is already recorded and being edited as we speak. It will be up next week. Oh, and I didn't even know it. And you're also going to get access to the Discord server where we're building an amazing community over there. You're going to get access to me, to talk to me if you want to get to know me and be friends. You're going to get access to signals. When I see something going on the chart, that Discord server that's a part of First Cohort is going to be the first notified. And you're also going to get access to private live streams. Those are going to be going live in a few weeks after the First Cohort has grown a little bit. For right now, we can do everything just in the Discord server. But after there's too many of you guys to really do a good one-on-one thing, we'll start doing live streams as well. Guys, it's really humbling to see how many of you guys have already joined, and thank you if you're in the First Cohort. I really appreciate it. We're going to have a lot of fun. Like I've told you, it's going to take a couple weeks, couple months for it to really grow and flesh out. It's one of those things where you need a lot of people for it to kind of get the ball rolling, but I'm already happy with where it's going. I'm already happy with what we're doing over there, and I look forward to the future, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, let me know in the comment section down below, and tell me what you thought of today's analysis. I'd love to hear your opinion in the comment section down below. Anyway, guys, that's enough rambling from me, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up here. But before I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Oh, I got a real good feeling.